My name is Elena. I am 32 years old and live in a small town about 50 minutes away from Boston. Every morning, I make myself an espresso, listen to the weather report, and walk to my office, which is just a block away from my home. I am the co-founder of a biotech startup, a job that is hard to explain to people, especially those who think office work is just data entry. My family never understood what I did, or perhaps they never cared to. To them, I was always the weird little sister who wore plain clothes, didn't use makeup, and was always buried in her laptop or busy in meetings. My older sister, Claire, was the one they were proud of. She is 3 years older than me and has always been the perfect daughter in their eyes, beautiful, soft-spoken, and charming. Even in family photos, I was just a blurry shadow behind Claire's glow. At every major event, relatives would gather around her to praise her. Well, the most anyone remembered about me was, "Oh yeah, Elena is doing something in biotech, I think." They never asked about the time. I stayed up until midnight in the office to manage a $2 million project crisis. For me, family was a place one could always return to. But that belief shattered on my mother's birthday. At the end of March, I successfully closed a funding round with a major firm in New York. I thought I would take 3 days off to go home and help with my mother's birthday preparations. When I called to tell them, my father picked up. I said, "I'm coming a bit early to help out," but his tone was strangely cold. He said bluntly, "Elena, if possible, don't come home this year. Claire is bringing her new boyfriend. He's a CFO, successful and sophisticated. Your job, well, it's hard to explain. Your presence might create a sense of competition and make things awkward. It's better if you stay there." I was shocked. I asked, "Are you saying I am an embarrassment to the family?" Instead of taking it back, he said, "If you insist on coming, then don't call me your father." And he hung up. That same night, I logged into my banking app. For 2 years, I had been paying the family's electricity, water, and internet bills about $600 a month. Without a word, I canceled all the auto payments. At 5 p.m. on the day of my mother's birthday, messages started flooding my phone. "Mom, Elena, why is the power out? Can you check?" "Dad, the water and internet aren't working either. Call the companies immediately." "Claire, guests are coming today, and you're being this selfish." I didn't reply. The next day, Claire left a voicemail saying I had ruined everything and called me heartless. I turned off my phone. It was time for me to finally be selfish. The next day at the office, a new transfer file landed on my desk. Liam Prescott. He was Claire's boyfriend, the one for whom I was barred from my own home. He was transferring from New Jersey to Boston, and I was his boss. When Liam walked into my office, he was stunned. "Elena, you are the co-founder of Pacific Genomics." I smiled and said, "Welcome. I will be reviewing this quarter's financial plan." He had no idea that the girl his girlfriend dismissed as a low-level worker was actually the head of the company. That evening, during a video call with Aunt Sharon, the atmosphere at home was terrible, a dark house and frustrated people. When Liam appeared in the frame and addressed me as boss, everyone froze. Claire's jaw dropped, and my father turned red with shame. I simply said, "I hope the introduction went well," and ended the call. A week later, my parents were at my doorstep. They came in, made small talk, and then my father said, "Perhaps we were a bit harsh with you, but now that your job is good and you are settled, ... My mother took a paper out of her bag and placed it on the table. "We've thought about this. You are successful now. We want you to send us $2,000 every month." I looked at them and realized they never loved me. They only cared about my success and money. I had already told Claire that Liam didn't leave her because of me, but because he saw her true reality. And now, my parents were doing the same thing. They weren't there for a relationship. They were there for a transaction. Actually, we have a proposal, my mother said hesitantly. Just enough for our daily expenses, insurance, and a little retirement savings. 2,000 a month, I asked. My father interrupted quickly. It's not a large amount for you. We are a family, Elena. I straightened my back and asked seriously, and what about Claire? My mother hesitated. Since the breakup, she isn't doing well. We can't put too much pressure on her. I laughed. It wasn't a bitter laugh, but one of realization because this was so predictable. Claire was always the one who couldn't be pressured, and I was always the one who had to handle everything. I looked them in the eye and said, if Claire agrees to pay her share $1,000, I will pay the other half. If not, I want a legal contract. A contract stating that after both of you, all assets, including the house, will be transferred to my name. Silence filled the room. My father's face turned red with anger. Are you really setting conditions for your parents? These aren't conditions. These are principles, I replied. I have already spent $16,000 on this family in 2 years, and no one even said thank you. If you want me to continue, things must be clear. My father slammed his hand on the table. We raised her for 20 years, and today she asks for a contract. Unbelievable. I sat calmly. Dad, I am not your debtor. If you think raising me was an investment for which you want a return, we can calculate every penny, but I will no longer pay the price in silence. They left shortly after. Since that day, my parents haven't contacted me. No calls, no messages. It's as if I am the cause of all their failures. But I wasn't surprised. I was used to the silence. I started living my life peaceful mornings with espresso, late night meetings, and closing deals people thought a woman alone couldn't handle. I stopped feeling guilty. I stopped thinking I was wrong for refusing to be a human wallet. Because ultimately, you have to realize that love cannot be measured in monthly installments. If a relationship is only about paying bills, it's not a family, it's just a transaction. I let go of the old burdens and the roles they chose for me. One day at the office, Liam, now our head of finance, brought me a report. He is professional, and we never mentioned Claire. Some things are better left unsaid. That afternoon, I sat in a cafe where the wall read, "Home isn't always a place. Sometimes it's a choice." People say turning your back on family is ungrateful, but stand where I stood, the daughter called an embarrassment. Who spent thousands in silence and never heard, "Are you okay?" I didn't choose to leave my family. I chose to find myself. Do you think I was cold-hearted? Or did I simply learn to value myself at the right time?